all of you back. Our next two presenters are two of our NCBAM staff. We have Angie Gregg and Charity Johnson. Angie is from the Regional Director for Central West, and then Charity Johnson is Southeast NCBAM region. But she also works for a new program that we just opened up, the Care Village in Kingston. This had that building dedicated a few weeks ago, and she's involved heavily with that. So let's see, Angie, before she came, can you believe this? She was a firefighter. So if we have a fire, we got someone who can take care of it here today. And she was also with the North Carolina Department of Insurance, and her passion is helping keep people safe. And Angie does that. We love her smile. You have to have a good smile to be a part of the NCBAM team. Right, Wayvetta? That's important. So you do that. And then Charity also serves the Care Village, as I said, as coordinator. And she's leading the efforts to offer geriatric management in community settings. Now, on this session, you're going to gain greater peace of mind as you learn how to implement and maintain a plan to prevent a home invasion or a burglary. You may think, I live in a small town, that's not going to happen to me. Well, 7 years ago, it happened to my mother-in-law in Kernersville, and it frightened her. She was out going all the time, but after that happened, she didn't want to leave the house. And she was only gone an hour, went to church for an aerobics class for seniors. So we never know. We'll also learn who is the most vulnerable to home invasions and how to avoid being targeted and what to do in the event of your home invasion. So I don't know who's coming first. Charity? All right, come on up here. And you got the redeemed clicker. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Stan. And hopefully, after Amy's story, thank you for sharing your personal story, that Angie now will be able to give you peace of mind today and how to prevent home invasions and what we can do to protect ourselves. Our home invasion prevention program, it was developed with the local law enforcement to educate aging adults. We want to be able to prevent home invasions, lower the odds of our home invasions, and improve your peace of mind. So let's get started. Yay, awesome. And I said, Wayvetta had a perfect scripture this morning in her prayer. Isn't God good? Proverbs 27:12. The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. Today's training, we do want to give you the peace of mind. We don't want to scare you, but we do want to do what we can to prevent our home invasion. A few things we do want you to be prepared. So these are not steps that you do the day before you go on vacation. So we are going to talk to you about how you can feel protected all year round. The good news is, according to the FBI Uniform Crime Reporting Statistics, property crime rates, including burglary, larceny, and motor vehicle theft, have seen a significant decline in the last few years. We good? Home invasion is the unlawful entry of someone's home, which often involves forceful entry, but it doesn't have to be forceful, right, Angie? And we're going to talk about that. Burglars tend to commit their crimes during the day when residents are likely to be out. Stan, your mother, you said, was out at our class? Yeah, so all within an hour. Statistically, someone is home 3 out of every 10 burglaries. Contrary to popular belief, the majority of home burglaries take place during the day. So we're going to talk about that. And someone is home during nearly 3 out of 10, like I just said. So they can occur any time, really, of the day or night. So let's talk about who is at risk. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, over 1 million home invasions occur each year. So who is at risk, you say? Women who live alone, wealthy or perceived to be wealthy, so they might follow a targeted victim and from the store, the gym, or church. Older adults, intruders do learn. Older adults go to the bank or when their Social Security checks come in, like Amy is talking about. And then also just a random selection, all of us are at risk. They'll try to get anything they can, won't they? Oh, I think I went too far. There we go. North Carolina had a rash of home invasion robberies. You can see here on the left. The mother arrived just minutes before her son. So she went in first, turned off the alarm, turned back to close the door that was still open, and 3 people came in, pushed the door open, and forced their way in and held her at gunpoint. The one on the right, you can see pictured there. They actually were targeting Asian restaurant owners at home, if you remember this. They were following the owners home. They knew they had a lot of cash from the day of business, and so they were targeting them and following them home. So let's look at our criminals. An expensive car or jewelry may entice the would-be home invaders to follow the targeted victim home. Almost 30% of burglars or invaders enter a home through an unlocked door or window. So they're going to come through your home just like you are, the front door. I always think, oh, they'll go in the back and, secret passage to get in your home. But no, they'll use the front door. They will watch you, your home, and your routine. So it's good to make sure that you don't drive home the same route that you do every day. And this was surprising to me, they often do live within 2 miles of you. And so they do know your routines. Astonishing, 34% of burglars enter through the front door. I mentioned that. They aren't shy about using your primary entry point. And most good burglars will watch a home to see when you're gone. They will go as far as knowing your daily routines. They'll know where you work, where you shop, and where you hang out. So what do we do? What can we do? And what do they look for? They are going to look for some of the things here: overgrown vegetation around your home. So sorry, HDTV, I know this looks beautiful with the rose bushes, but we do need to make sure we prune them or have them away from your entrances to your home so they can't hide behind the bushes and busy plants. They also are looking for open or unlocked doors or windows. A third of home burglaries are with no force. And how about leaving the keys in the door? Anybody does that? I get the keys in the door, unlock it, get all the groceries in, the door's open. I'm hoping the dog doesn't run out. And I was even telling Angie last night, I was staying with some friends here in Raleigh, and they couldn't find their keys. We sat there watching the news for about 10 to 15 minutes. Where are my keys? We can't go to dinner. They're in the door. They're in the door outside. So you can't make it up, Amy. You really can't. And it's all of us that need to be reminded daily of that. They also are looking for dog and cat doors. Does anybody have dog or cat doors? Yes? Okay. So you just want to make sure, it's surprising they can even crawl through a cat or dog door. I would never think that. But just make sure you obviously close and lock them at night so that you are secure. And I have a good story for this next one too. They also are looking for ladders and a means of access. I don't know if you can see in the picture there's a burglar. He's breaking in the home using a ladder that was left on the house. So my husband was pressure washing the house the other day, left the ladder up, and my 13-year-old daughter's like, Mom, that ladder can look directly into my bathroom because there's a window up top. So I'm like, oh my gosh, we got to get the ladder off the house. But just in your routines, you're busy and you just leave it. So this was a good reminder for me. So you definitely want to make sure you don't have a pile of wood stacked under a window where they can step up and get into your home. Hopefully this training today will just help you really think about, okay, what do I do on a daily routine? What are some things and strategies I can do to be safer? Let's look at this next picture here. Okay, what do we see in this next picture? It's kind of dark, right? So homes with little or no lighting, they're looking for that. Our exterior doors should be well lit. I feel like all of us can add some kind of light to the outside. You want to minimize dark areas. Simple way to reduce potential burglaries is adding your lights. I know you can have timed lamps on the inside of your home when you're gone. My parents have a light that looks like a TV's on. Do y'all have those? That was really neat. It's like a blue light. So there's many different ways to light up your home on the inside and outside. And Angie also has a booth today that you can go to and talk to her about more of what we're talking about today. Look at this one. Okay, so valuables and window. Did anybody have the glass windows to your doors? I do too. So right when you come in, I would go in the house, plop my purse down on the counter. Well, you can see it, right? Through the window, Charity. So I've had to add curtains. So that's something that's good for you to do. Make sure you don't have your valuables that can be seen, or install, we say, curtains or shades. So what do they look for? We've talked about it. They're looking for opportunity. So overgrown vegetation around your home. Open or unlocked doors or windows, so just make sure you have all of those locked. Even when you are home, make sure all your doors are locked. I know I live in the country. We didn't even have bolt locks on the doors when we moved in. Brand new home built. So my grandpa, he works for he worked for LAPD back in the 50s, I think, 50s. So he did, and the first thing he did when I moved my house, he couldn't believe I didn't have any deadbolts, none. So that was the first thing he did. But make sure, even wherever you live, make sure you have your doors locked. Dog and cat doors, we talked about making sure those are locked up throughout the day and night when you're not using them. Remove your ladders and means of access, whether that was wood under your window or anything they can use, even a grandchild's playhouse, they can move that and get into the home. So let's practice some prevention. Always avoid a confrontation. Using some forward thinking can make steps to deny criminals the opportunity to invade your home. So you want to. They also work in teams of 2 or more. So they'll use overwhelming force to gain control and create fear in their victims. So to begin, look at your home objectively. Figure out the weak spots. So I've done that even in preparing for this training today. You want to think about everything that they can use to get in your home. And even make sure you lock the front door. We can't stress that enough to keep your home safe. So what are some weak spots in and around your home? That's something we want you to think about today. And do you need to upgrade your locks at your front door or add more lighting so that they cannot get in? So let's look at some prevention tips here. Personal crime prevention needs to be practiced on a daily basis. So you want to avoid carrying large amounts of cash. That's what they were doing when they were targeting the Chinese restaurant owners, because they knew they would have that cash. Before you get out of your car, you want to look around to make sure there's nothing suspicious. And if there is, just call 911 and stay in your car. To gain entry, they may make up a story about an accident, or they don't have a phone. My girlfriend's pregnant, having a baby, I just need to get in to use your phone. No, don't let them in, and if you aren't sure if someone is supposed to come deliver a package, you can always ask for an ID to make sure that they are who they say they are. You want to install a peephole if you can, and definitely use it. And law enforcement says at least make your home look occupied and difficult to break in. So whether you are on vacation, make sure you have those lights on, timers, and make sure that you have as much light as possible outside. We want you to use deadbolt locks on all exterior doors. Don't advertise if you live alone. I know that Amy was talking about how, use like the first initial in your name. I know they have directories, phone directories, and so that's smart as well. Neighborhood watch is a great way to get to know your neighbors and keep the phone numbers of your neighbors in case of an emergency. That's good prevention. I know my neighborhood has a Facebook group, and so if someone's coming around trying to sell items, we'll tell each other that on Facebook, or if something's not looking right, we try to protect our neighborhood and each other. We talked about light up your residence and make it harder for them to hide at night near your doors and entry points. You want to keep your doors locked even when you are home. Even when you're mowing the grass, they might enter through the front door, but you're in the back, and so you wouldn't even see them come through your home for a home invasion. Also, for a funeral, sometimes we'll put your address of your dad that has a funeral. You know that everyone's going to be gone from that address. So if a friend asks, what can I do? You can have them sit at your home while you're at the funeral. And so that is something as well that's great for prevention. And that would be within an hour or two, right, Mr. Stan? So a lot can happen in a short amount of time. And don't hesitate to call 911 or your emergency services if you do suspect something suspicious, even a wheelchair ramp being built, right, Sandy? Make sure you call, and rather be safe than sorry. We also want you to, maybe, teach your grandkids how to respond. You know, we have friends that have 5 kids. They want to run to the door and open it right away when someone comes up the driveway and greet you. But we really want to practice with them not opening the door, making sure they have an adult come to the door, peep through the peephole, look to make sure they're safe. Even turn on lights. You can turn on lights if someone is at the door and they're by themselves, or sound an alarm. There's an alarm system. But test their knowledge and really practice the drill with them, repeating these messages to keep them safe. So we want you to do that and teach them those skills. So now we're going to have Angie, Gregg come up and talk to us about some security options. We do have those at our table with the vendors, so you can see some of the different devices that she's going to be talking about today. Thank you.
Great job, Charity.
Here's your
Thanks
clicker.
for getting us started. So, like she said, it's about opportunity, and that is what we're wanting to take away from the criminals, is the opportunity. Even when Amy was talking this morning, I kept thinking about what opportunities are we providing them. So you want to think about this both for scams and for your home and all types of things. What kind of opportunities are you giving them? And taking away these opportunities makes it really hard. So we'll talk about now some of the, nobody gave me directions, just press the arrow. Okay, so we're going to talk about some security options, and we're going to cut this presentation down a little bit because we've actually got a little mini door in our vendor area. And if you could come by, we can talk to you a little bit more about security options, show you some of the options that we have. But there's so many options, and maybe you can't afford all of them, or can't have all of them, or need all of them, but think about some of these options that may be good for you. Alarm systems. There's so many different types. You can get professional alarm systems put in. You can go and get small, go to Lowe's and Walmart and find small alarm systems, the type that lets you know if somebody has walked by a certain area. There's so many different things there, so maybe look at doing something like that. Floodlights and motion lights, I think, are one of the more economical and easier way for us to help protect our homes. They really don't like, they want to do it at night a lot of times, do their work at night, and they don't want the area lit up. And if they think, oh, it's dark, but as soon as they start walking up and those floodlights start popping on, they're probably going to get out of there. Because don't you immediately, as soon as my floodlight comes on, I'm peeking out what's going on out there. So they're getting out. So think about the floodlights and motion lights. And you can also get the motion lights, the lights that have the cameras. So you might want to also invest in that. We'll talk a little bit more about security cameras. There's window bars. And when there was a rash of thefts and break-ins, people wanted to put window bars up. But keep in mind, this is coming from the fire side of me, you've got to be able to escape. Firefighters need to get in. So think about how you're going to do that. There are window bars that are made now that have locks on the inside. So you can put the window bars on, lock it, but make sure you've got that key, you know how to get out as quickly. Because, think about your safety in other situations as well. There's window locks. Most windows now have locks on them, but you can get additional window locks to put on there. And how about just an old-fashioned stick? You know what I'm talking about? When you have the window, just putting a stick in there, they cannot push that window open. So that's pretty inexpensive. I think we could all go out in the woods and find a stick if we don't have any money. So there's so many options that you can use there. And door jammers. I've got a door jammer on the door out there. You can come and look at it. I'm not really keen on it because to me it's a trip hazard and I don't want you falling. But there's different types of door jams so that if someone's trying to kick in that bottom portion of the door, they're not able to. That's the weak part. And if they're trying to kick it in down there and they're not able to get anywhere, they're usually not going to try to get in. The security cameras. If you can afford good security cameras, we recommend it. law enforcement that we talked to, and Charity and I are not from in law enforcement, but like she said, we worked with local law enforcement and SBI to get information. And they said if you're going to have security cameras that are going to be beneficial to law enforcement, get high definition cameras, because usually it's so grainy, and you've seen the pictures in the paper where you're trying to look at the criminal and I really can't tell. They need high quality. So think about that if you are trying to go for security cameras. She talked a little bit about bushes around your tree. If you're going to have the bushes and trees around there, make it barberry. Make it something that when if they try to hide behind your bushes, they're going to get hurt. Rose bushes, whatever. And the thing is that she was trying to say is you're giving them hiding places to get in there. So stay away from that and use the thorny shrubs around their doors or around the areas that you don't want them hiding. And tempered glass. If you have a door and on both sides you have windows, is that glass tempered so that they can't punch out the window and just unlock the door? Usually it is in your newer homes. And I learned that on a fire call when we had a rescue call and we couldn't get in, and the police came and I said, yeah, go ahead and break the window. And he had his baton and it would not break. So I learned how hard tempered glass was at that point. And you can also get rolls of, it's a shield that you can get to put over your windows, and it's will actually toughen the window and not let it break. And that's a lot cheaper than replacing it with tempered glass. So that's another example that you could try as well. Arrow. Okay. So we talked a lot about prevention, and that's where we'd rather go. I agree with Ben Franklin, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. It's so important that we try to prevent anything from ever happening. They look at our house and say, I'm not going near that house. That's what we want. But say there's a knock at the door. And this is one thing, if they had to cut me off in 5 minutes, this is the one thing I really want to emphasize. That we as Southerners, we are so hospitable and we want to be loving Christians and welcome people into our homes. We hear a knock at the door, we will so readily open that door and welcome them. And a lot of times we don't know who's there and we don't know what they're there for. So first we need to make sure we don't open the door to strangers. We need to respond in a way that suggests a full house. Hey, hang on, we're busy. We are busy. Hang on, my husband's on the ladder, whatever. Let them know that the house is full. Draw attention to the house. If it's at night and there's a stranger at your door, you can peek out and you know it's a stranger. Now's the time to turn on the outdoor lights. This is a great time to get those grandkids. Go turn on the back door lights. Go turn on all the outdoor lights. It draws attention to the house. It makes them aware that if they're bad right there, they may better leave. If not, maybe it's legit. So you want to observe them without being seen, if you can, through window, through the peephole. And I'll show you the peephole, which is a very inexpensive peephole. Try to observe them, and get description of them. Try to make sure that you can identify them. If you ask, who are you, and it's not legit, they can't give you a legitimate reason. My car's broke down, can I use your phone? Tell you who you want me to call, I'll call them for you. I'm sick, hang on, I'm calling the ambulance. And there's really not much that you're going to be able to do for them that 911 and it's not being hospitable, it's being safe. We have to be safe. All right. So we talk about how innocuous just something as simple as a knock on the door can be, and it could lead to something very terrible. And sorry, it's a little dark, but this is a scenario. A lady shows up at the door, and these are real pictures. The lady shows up in a vest with a package at the door, and the lady the woman lets her in, and as soon as she opens the door to get the package, another guy comes around from behind and rushes in, and they push their way in. So that's one type of knock-knock scenario. The other type of knock-knock scenario is when you've got a stranger knocking at the front door, and you need to be on alert and be listening, and then someone is going around to the back door. So that's why you need to be alert and listening. Yes, what can I help you with? But keep your mind, or maybe send the grandkids, go lock the back door. Send your wife to the back door, go lock the back door. Keep your eye open, because that's the way they're distracting you in the front so they can come around into the back. And she was right, that they will use opportunities like the funerals, like you're mowing the yard. Summertime, kids are out playing in the yard. Kids are coming in and out of the house. These are in neighborhoods, they're just in and out of the house. You don't think much of it. If they live within 2 miles, which a lot of them do, they're watching this and they know you're not paying attention. They'll come right into your house and mess around. And it may not be for valuables. After what Amy was telling you this morning, they may be just in there to get personal information. And I think one time, Sandy, didn't you have a home invasion? It wasn't a violent home invasion. It was someone more inebriated, I believe, right? And there again, he gave them the opportunity. Your door was open, family was there, and they just came right in. So it's another reason to be aware of what's going on. But with the knock-knock burglaries, you want to find out who you are. Don't open the door until you know if it's a package. And usually in our classes, we can bring this to your church if you'd like. In our sessions, we would do some role playing and actually test you on knock, knock. Hey, I've got a package for you. Okay, just leave it outside the door. No, I need a signature. Who's it from? Oh, it's from Amazon. No, Amazon doesn't require a signature. Who's it addressed to? And that, things like that, because you can throw them off really quick by asking questions that they should know if it's really so. Be wary, and I'm the worst. I order things, and I'll go rushing out to meet the delivery man, and then this time they're in a personal car, I still go rushing out. So I've tried to make myself a lot more aware that I don't know that they're the delivery man, so we want to be more careful. Should you pretend that you're home or not? If it's your mother-in-law and you know it's her, okay, you can pretend that you're not home. But a lot of time, if it is an intruder, remember, they prefer an empty house. They want to come into a house. They're coming in the day. They think people are gone to work. You may be giving them the green light to come on in, and then you've got a personal situation. You could be personally involved. So keep the doors locked. Yell at them. I understand you need help. If that's what they're asking for, police is on the way. And if they really need something, they'll sit down on the porch and wait for police. If they're not, they're going to take off. So that could backfire on you. If they're outside, you're locked inside, I'd say, we're sick right now. We've got COVID. We can't come to the door. That's a perfect excuse. I hadn't thought about that one. We can use it for our benefit. But there is no reason for a stranger to be needing, especially at night. And I think I even made a note, one of the officers told me that, I even wrote his quote down. If this is something else other than, if the person is truly in need of assistance, they will appreciate your actions and might even sit down to await the arrival of the police. Once the police arrive, you can describe it to them. It's not the section I was wanting. It was basically saying that even a healthy 25-year-old man that is armed should not be opening door to strangers because you're just opening the door to opportunity. So I appreciated him saying that. So if you do have an intruder in your house, what's the next step? What do you think you should do? Get out. I love that. Good for you. Yeah, the best thing to do, and I had a man come up to me at the last presentation and said, what really is in your house that is worth your life or your loved one's life? There's nothing there. So you want to get out. That's your first course of action, is to get out and be prepared to get out. If they're inside of your home, you want to get out immediately. You want to escape, even if it means possible injury to yourself. You might be need to escape, and the only escape is the window, and you're going to have to jump 8 feet. A broken arm or leg might be worth it if you see guns coming into the house. So plan your escape, know your ways out, just like in a fire situation. And once you're out and you're in a safe place, that's when you call 911. And a lot of people want to say, I want to call 911 immediately. You need to get in a safe place first. I want you in a safe zone. I want you to get out where you're safe and you can call and you can talk, because they're going to ask you questions. It's not immediate. So get out. You want to alert others that are in the home. And me and my husband have developed Mayday. We have a lot of things that we yell at each other, but Mayday, we know that is not a joke. And if we have other codes, but the Mayday is a serious one. And if I say Mayday in a loud voice, Mayday, he knows not to come looking for me, that we're both to get out of the house and that there's something serious. So think about what you might want to use Mayday, you want to use escape, but something serious to let them know that there's a serious problem to get out of the house. So it's sort of like planning together with your family. So that's your homework tonight, everyone to get a code word. You still owe me one. Don't you hate it in the movies when they go looking for the intruder? They get the bat, or they get they pick up something that they're going to go attack the intruder with, and I'm just like, no, stop. Don't go trying to find the intruder. You want to avoid confrontation at all costs. This is what we're trying to do. Get out and escape. You know the ways out. Hopefully this person doesn't know your house. You can get out and be hiding and calling police. And did I miss one? I can't get back. Point it the wrong way. There we go. So you've heard of the safe room, and there's even a movie about the safe room. You don't have to be as detailed as that, a concrete block room or anything. What you want is a room that has a lock on it, preferably a lock that is a good, sustainable lock, a deadbolt. Not many of your bedrooms have deadbolts on it, not many of your rooms. So you might want to think of a safe room in your house. Could be your bedroom where you've got a window you know you can escape. It could be a huge closet where you feel safe. Just find a room that you know that if you are trapped in your home that you could get in there and feel safe. It locks from the inside, easily barricaded, and stocked in advance. This is where you could have your weapons, whatever you want, your knives, your guns, whatever you might want to have in there. Turn out the lights and be quiet as possible if you're in your safe room. If this is, to me, I hope this never ever happens. I hope you never ever have to use any of this. But if this ever happens, someone's in your home, you could not get out, turn out the lights, be quiet as you can. Go ahead and call 911 if you've got a landline where you are. Even if you can't call, dial 911. With the new enhanced 911 system, it's going to tell them where you are. As far as I know, there's not a dispatcher that let a 911 call go without them sending in law enforcement to find out what's going on, because they know of situations like this. So go ahead and pick up the phone, dial 911 if you can't talk right then, and just hold on to it. If they're breaking in, go ahead and yell. You may not want to let them know that you're there, the intruder know that you're there right then, but go ahead and yell. If they're breaking into your room, we've called the police. And again, if you're in there alone, my husband has called the police. My big burly uncle has called the police. And make sure that they know too, that you're doing it. Has anyone ever had to call 911? Okay, a few hands. It's not a quick process, is it? It's sort of like you have to wait for it to ring. And when you're in a hurry, and it rings. 911, what is your emergency? And then you have to just slow yourself down and tell them, because they have to get certain information. So that's why you want to make sure that you're in a situation where you can call. Oh, that's a quickie now. It's really moving on. So if you are unable to escape, hide, barricade yourself with a heavy locking door, stay quiet as you can, arm yourself if you can. If you are found, fight. And if you're going to fight, go for the weak points. Where's the weak points, ladies? We know. The eyes, good. Where else? The throat, go for the throat. And guys, you know too, but ladies, we get taught this, we go for the... Strike at the weak points, the face, the neck, and the eyes. Go for it and just fight for yourself. And call 911 after hiding and exhausting all possibility of flight, and observe any details you can about the intruder. And I know we have gone through this, but we have gone through pretty quickly, but we're going to have a quick review. And some of the things we really want you to remember: make sure your home is locked. Make sure it looks occupied. I love that idea about the TV set, the light that looks like a TV set. That's a great idea. Make it hard and difficult to break in. Take away those opportunity. Have a code word. Use deadbolt locks. And we're going to talk about deadbolt. If you come by my booth, we'll talk about deadbolt locks and the fact that the deadbolt lock should have 3-inch screws into the jamb, Daddy? Door jamb, he's my technical man, into the jamb. So that's where a lot of your older locks may not have the 3-inch. So you want to make sure that you do have a good, strong bolt, padlock on your, sorry, not a padlock. Deadbolt. Thank you, deadbolt. First course of action, get out immediately. Run, hide, flight. And when a stranger knocks on your door, respond in a way that suggests that the house is full. So these are a lot of information, but I have a little something to leave you with. One night, a lady came home from her weekly prayer meeting, found she was being robbed, and she shouted out, Acts 2:38, repent and be baptized and your sins will be forgiven. The robber quickly gave up, and the lady called the police. While handcuffing the criminal, a policeman said, Gee, fella, you gave up pretty easily. How come? The robber replied, She said she had an axe and 238s. So I know that today has been a lot of scary stuff. And we want to make you aware. We don't want you going home in fear. We don't want you going home and being scared. But we want you to take away these opportunities that we're providing to the criminals. Be thinking about what opportunities. Look at it as a criminal would. How can I take advantage of this house? How can I take advantage of this person? And I want you to just be good stewards of your home and family. When it comes to helping others, God desires for you to take care of your family. Fear not, I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. I think we've all had a theme today with our verses. So I want you to go home and be thinking about what changes will you make. Even though we did not have law enforcement, we did work with law enforcement, and I went by Wake County Sheriff's Department booth, that vendor out here. Please pick up the personal safety tips for older adults. This tells just about everything that Charity and I shared with you today. I was so impressed with this, so please go by and get that information. And come by the booth with the little door, and we've got some more peace of mind and home safe home flyers we'd like to share with you and answer any questions you may have about security or home invasion. Thank you very much.